man. I know you probably got a full
Yeah, I
day.
got
But yeah, Kenny, I appreciate you, man, coming on to talk with me a little bit. I can't remember when I became interested in your page on Facebook,
uh-huh.
but I saw it somewhere, and I started following you, and being a veteran, and
Right.
I started following you, and just became interested in what you were doing.
Uh-huh.
Don't know how long I've been on it, but I'm on it, and I've been passing it on to my
Okay.
friends and stuff. So I wanted to interview you and hear
Okay.
your story. And with me, man, the way I'd like to start with folks is to get to know a person. I like to know where they come from.
Okay.
I know you just didn't drop out the sky. So
Right.
if you don't mind, can you go back and start with maybe your far back as you can on both sides, your mother and your father's side, and we'll take it
Okay.
from there if you don't mind.
Okay. Well, I've got a kind of an interesting background. My mother and father, my mother died a year ago in Thanksgiving, but they had been married, I think, about 55 years. My father's still living,
Mm-hmm.
and I have four brothers and a sister. And we all served in the military. All the
Okay.
brothers did, the sister didn't.
Mm.
But I grew up here in Salisbury. My father's side of the family hails from Clover, South Carolina. My mother side hails from New Jersey. But they met here, got married, and had all of us. And I'm the youngest out of all. But sometimes they put me in the position of I'm the one that's got to handle everything, and even though
Okay.
I'm the youngest, so that
Okay.
gets to be a little tiring at times.
Mhm.
But like I said, we all served our country. I had me and my older brother Al. We were in the Air Force, and I've got a brother Mike, Pete, and Greg. They were in the Army. One interesting story about that: my brother Mike. I'm sorry, Mike was in the Air Force. Mike left the United States and went to England in his first tour in 85. And he's never come
Okay.
back. He stayed.
Wow.
And he said he likes life over there. But growing up here in Salisbury, it's a small town, a historic town. We've got some of our issues now, like most towns do with gangs and drug violence and things like that, gun violence. But I enjoyed living up here. I enjoyed raising my family here. I've got three sons and a grandson, and I enjoyed raising them here. But growing up here was a little difficult because you're living in the South.
Right.
And I really didn't understand how to navigate the world until I got out of the military and came back here
Mhm.
and, was confronted with it. But
Mhm.
but my father's side of the family, we were able to trace them all the way back, which I'm proud of. That some of them actually left here during slavery and went to that first set that went to Liberia. So I'm real proud
Mm.
of that side. And
Okay.
I took that upon myself, and I traced my ancestry from my mother's side and found out that we hail from Cameroon.
Okay.
So, and I'm very big on social activism, and I'll get into that in here in just a little bit. But growing up, I went off to college, and I wasn't prepared. I tell people I do a lot of public speaking. I talk to a lot of kids. I do a lot of mentoring, and I don't gloss over my life. I made a lot of mistakes early on. I went to college right after high school, and I was not prepared to go to college. Uh,
Mhm.
like you, I was in journalism. That was my major. I worked at the college radio station. I took all of these 8 o'clock classes, and I was on the radio to 3 in the morning. So I never
Mm.
took class, and
Okay.
got that first year's GPA, 1.9 GPA. So I ended up going in the military.
Okay.
Best decision I ever made was joining
Mm.
the Air Force.
Mhm.
And because when I got out of the Air Force and I came back home, I went back to college and I graduated with a 4.1 GPA
Wow.
in college, magna cum laude, and with a degree in journalism.
Okay.
But I didn't use that. I decided to, I worked in the prison system for 7 years because I was a law enforcement specialist in the Air Force, so I have security forces. And I worked for the prison system for 7 years, but I always had this background of wanting to help. I wasn't in there for enforcement. I wasn't in there, to try to hold anybody down. I'm the one that took college applications in. I'm the one that, if they were artists, to try to connect them with people and do different things. But that
Hmm.
wasn't the mindset of the prison system. So I let that go and I
Okay.
transitioned over into healthcare. In 1999, I moved over into healthcare and I spent the next 20 years working in healthcare. I became a hospital director working at hospitals all across the country. I've worked in Tennessee, I've worked in here in North Carolina, just about every hospital as a consultant. I've worked
Hmm.
in Missouri, Kansas, Florida, all around the country, Kentucky, Ohio. And I was responsible for quality, risk, and patient satisfaction. And I still had that knack for wanting to give because, as a patient advocate, my job had the difficult job of, number one, whenever somebody died in the hospital, I was the one that notified the family.
Okay.
Whenever there was time to ask for tissue and organ donation, I was the one that approached the family. But I also made sure that people had a positive experience when they were in the hospital and their rights were respected also. So I've always just had that behind me to always want to ensure that people's rights were respected.
Hmm.
So after I did that to 2015, I left the hospital and I became a city councilman here in my hometown. And the fight didn't stop. I was not
Hmm.
one of those who sat up there and did drive-by voting, what I call people never connect with the community. I walk the streets at night on the weekends and
Hmm.
I talked to the gang members. I talked to the people, that were out. I fought for the poor, the people in the margins. And so that was one of the things. The other thing that I actually did do with my degree, Chester, was in 1992, I wrote my first editorial to the local newspaper. And I remember it was about the Rodney King incident, assault out in California.
Hmm.
And I remember the editor calling me and he was concerned. He said, if we print this as is, I'm afraid you might start some riots here. I said, well, I'll
Wow.
buy ad space, but I'm not going to change one word. And
Hmm.
for the next 30 years or so, I've been an editorial writer for my newspaper here, for Black owned newspapers in Charlotte, Florida, Texas, and Georgia.
That's
And
something you still do? You
I'm
still do
sorry.
that?
Yes,
Is
I
that
still
something
do
that you still
that.
do?
I've been writing for Texas Metro News. If you Google Texas Metro News, you'll see my latest editorials that are in that paper. The Florida Star, you can look in there, the Charlotte Post, and
Okay.
then the Salisbury Post. You can see all of my articles. So,
Okay.
but what led to this, I had some significant health issues, and that's my testimony. I had some health issues that almost took my life, and I was in two major car accidents within 6 months. I was in a head-on collision, and I was in a side impact collision, and I walked away from both miraculously.
Wow.
And, I fell down on my knees one day and I said, God, I don't know what you're trying to tell me. I said, but I don't know what my purpose in life is. What is my purpose in life? And the next morning, and people think I'm fabricating this, but literally the next morning I woke up and said, I want to start a place where veterans with mental health challenges can come. I don't want them to have to pay for anything. I want it to be free. I want it to be where we can go like we used to do in the barracks, just hang out, be each
Hmm.
other's brothers and sisters, have fun.
Right.
So I set out on a journey in January of 22. And I sat down before our county commission here, and they said, you have 15 minutes to pitch this idea to us. Well, an hour and a half later, I was still talking.
Wow.
And they gave me this 2,700 square foot facility for $1 a year for 5 years.
Oh
Um,
man.
And then they said, all you're responsible for is the lights and the water. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
had a benefactor who came in and said, estimate what you think those will be, and I'll write you a check. So to get started, people came out and really supported me.
Mm-hmm.
But I and my 22-year-old son at the time, we came in here and we worked 7 days a week, 10 hours a day for 2 months. And we pulled up carpet, we painted, we got this place in shape by ourselves. We didn't have a crew, we didn't have a committee. While I was doing that, I was also online looking for items to put in here. And when I found something, I was in Winston-Salem, I was in Charlotte, I was driving all across the state, pool tables and just different things, artifacts.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I'm proud to say is we were able to open this in 2 months. We had a celebration. About 150 people showed up to my grand opening celebration. We actually opened April 16th. So yesterday was our 3-year anniversary.
I
And
saw that.
we had about 150 people that showed up.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward 3 years later, when I started out, Chester, I had one pool table, I had a foosball table, I had a couch, and I had a table where people could eat. I didn't have a lot in here. I had a few things on the wall, but fast forward 3 years later to today, this place has grown significantly. I've got two brand new pool tables. I mean, it is just beautiful. It is a beautiful facility.
Mm-hmm.
We have about 200 artifacts that go back to the Spanish American War, through every war and conflict up to Iraq.
Oh
Some
man.
of these things are priceless. People just come in and they give me stuff and donate things. Um, my social media presence has also grown.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, several months ago, I was getting almost 2 million viewers a week on my social
Mm-hmm.
media page.
Wow.
30 countries. There were people sending me messages from 30 countries, and I keep a list of those all across the United States. People are following. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud of that. We have relationships. I've built relationships with about 140 businesses in and around this county, throughout the state. We have 4 U.S. congressmen that support me.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 state senators that support me. The county commission supports me. The city council supports me. So it's been a lot of hard work, but I have been able to give the veterans something and maintain it. Once you step through my front door, you don't spend a penny in here. We
Mm-hmm.
have large flat screen 86-inch TVs with all the movie channels, sports channels. There's always food in here to eat. We have a brand new refrigerator that was donated, full of ice cream and sodas. There's always snacks. The first Saturday of every month, we fed a full sit down meal. I mean, a soul food buffet style meal to every veteran that walked through the door.
Mm-hmm.
We have paid for the funerals for 4 veterans that did not have adequate burial insurance. We have given out TVs, microwaves for homeless veterans who've gotten apartments. We go out and find veterans who live in their cars, and we give them gift cards to fast food restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
We do quite a bit of philanthropy because I feel like I have been blessed and people have been a blessing to me. The one thing that I do credit, I have never taken one penny of a salary since I've been here for 3 years.
Okay.
Every cent that I get, 100% of every donation that I receive, I put it back into this facility. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I probably could be making $1 million, but that was not my goal. My goal is not to be extremely profitable. My thing is to help my brothers and sisters that I serve with. So when
Mm-hmm.
we get people in that have a need, we've had people like today, someone couldn't pay their phone bill. I paid the phone bill. It's not all, we don't do it a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
we do it case by case. But I don't want any veteran who has willingly and honorably served this country to feel like they don't have any hope or any resource. Now, if
Mm-hmm.
it's something that I can't handle, I do resource it out to other facilities. But I don't like to accept a lot of awards. I've turned down a lot of awards, but I did receive the Martin Luther King Jr. Award from the Salisbury VA. The 9th and 10th Cavalry, Horse Cavalry Buffalo Soldiers recognized me for my efforts. Trying to think, there's another veterans organization in Charlotte, but the one I'm most proud of, back in 2021, 2022, there were 500 people that put their name in to be inducted into the North Carolina Military Veterans Hall of Fame. They picked 17 individuals, and I was one of the 17 that got inducted into the Hall of Fame for my community service efforts. So I'm really proud of that, and of what I've accomplished.
Well, I tell you, man, you don't leave me much room for questions.
I didn't mean to be so talkative.
No, that's good. But let me ask you this. All of that, you must be a single man. You can't be married.
No.
Doing all of that.
I've been married for 34 years.
I'm being sarcastic, but,
hey,
but that's a lot, man.
Yeah, she keeps the house running, and but I am on the go all the time. I've had about 700 contacts in my phone. My phone's always ringing, and I'm always helping people. But we have a good agreement. But I'm having to slow down. I've got some health issues that's making me slow down a little bit, and she's getting on me about slowing down and learning to say no. And I just don't want anyone to ever feel like they don't have hope, or they don't have anyone to turn to. And the other part of my nonprofit, Chester, is called the High Road. If you go to my website, you actually will go to the High Road. It's called the High Road Inc.org is the website. And what I do with that, and I've been doing this for a while, if anybody has a non-legal issue, advocacy issue, I go to fight for them. If they have an issue, say, with something they've bought, a consumer issue, issue with a business, an issue with, I represent them in a non-legal way. I reach out to that entity and I sit down and I say, hey, let's not get third parties involved. Let's not get lawyers involved. How can we work this out? And I have probably worked with hundreds of even governments. I've worked with the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police, the school systems. Different people reach out to me. The Postal Service here. Unfortunately, I had to have this guy replaced. There were some issues with our Postal Service. So to your point, I'm busy and I'm tired.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you are a busy man.
Right.
And like I said, I'm not gonna hold you long, but I do have
I've got all day for you, brother.
No, I know you say you have 12 o'clock. But let me see. Let me look at my notes here. Let me get back here because you had said that you didn't come in directly out of high school. You went to college for a minute. Then you went to the military.
Wasted a year in college.
Wasted a year. Okay. and I don't want to get into any political stuff, but on that note, you said the military was one of the best things you could have done. I feel the same way.
Right.
In that political atmosphere right now, and we're coming up on graduation, kids coming out of high school and maybe not having a pathway to go right now. Would you even recommend the military? I know that's a crazy question, but under the present person that's in command of the military right now, do you think that would be a good move?
Okay, let me preface this first.
Okay,
because I get in trouble a lot.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't. If I ask you anything and you think back and you tell me because I'm gonna edit a lot of this stuff out.
Okay.
You tell me, well, Chess, I thought of it. Take that out.
No.
But go ahead. Let me hear what you got to say about that. Go ahead.
What I want to say is tell people there's a distinction between, if you notice, even on my social media page, we don't discuss politics inside the facility. That is a hard and fast rule that I have in here. I want this place to be a respite. I want this place to be where people can come and all it is about healing. So I don't allow any political discussion in here.
Mm-hmm.
On my social media page, you can't help it. I mean, I post what's going on in the world
Mm-hmm.
now. So I'm going to step away from this, my business aspect and talk to you from personally.
Okay.
I am conflicted. The military saved me.
Mm-hmm.
I was not one. I never got into drugs. I never got anything like that. I just didn't have a path to progress and a path to grow up. And I've always looked at the military as a place where if you don't know what you want to do, if you don't have a skill set, go in the reserves. Just
Mm-hmm.
go in for 2 years
Right.
and get some discipline, get something behind you. But I will tell you honestly right now, and it's the same thing that I said to my children. I've got a son now who's planning on joining the Army. I
Mm-hmm.
sat down and I said, I don't think you should go. I said, not right now. Under this administration, under the way that things are, I do not think the military is a safe option for you right now.
Right.
Now, if people are out of options, and I would much rather see somebody go than to be on the on the street dealing drugs or getting in gangs or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But as a honorably discharged veteran who has continued to serve honorably in my community, who took his oath very seriously, I am disappointed, I am disillusioned, and I am just frankly just upset with the way that this administration is define the Constitution. That,
Mm-hmm.
and I even said this in one of the articles that I wrote. If I had a child that voluntarily went to serve and was killed in deployment overseas, I would not want anyone from that administration to hand me a flag. I
Yeah.
would be adverse to that, and
Mm-hmm.
I would probably react angrily
Yeah.
because this is not what I signed up for. This is not the military that I signed up for. So I
Yeah.
would be hesitant to recommend it, right now. And I stand behind that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just very disappointed, and I'm disappointed with anybody who served this country, who took that oath. I still remember that oath I took over 40 years ago. And I
Yeah.
remember when I got out of the military, Chester, I remember sitting in the office because I had a high security clearance.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting with that OSI agent and having that conversation about not divulging anything that I learned while I was in the Air Force the rest of my life, and being true to your oath, and how anybody that honorably served can look at what's going on and
Right.
and not speak out or
Yeah.
support this. I'm
Right.
just disgusted by the whole thing. Now
Yeah.
that's coming from me personally.
Yeah. Understand. Okay. Okay. And let's see. You I saw something and correct me if I'm wrong,
Uh-huh.
that you may be getting out of the business here. Well, I call it a business. That
Yes,
you
I'm thinking about it, and I won't go too deep, but I've got some health issues that I need to address, and it's going
okay.
to be some long term things that I'm dealing with, and so a fit necessitates me that I can't maintain the level of what I'm doing.
Hmm.
I may look at doing that. But right now, I'm working with the VA, and I'm going through some testing and some treatments and some different things. And the volunteers, I've got some wonderful volunteers, and I have to give them a shout out. I've got
Hmm.
11 volunteers. The majority of them are prior military. We've got a couple of retired Navy individuals. We got some Air Force individuals, Army individuals, and then some spouses and widows of deceased that are holding this down for me
Hmm.
because when I'm out, but they're here. I'm not here every day like I used to be, but I try to come in a couple times a week. But if right now things are going extremely well, but it just depends on how this goes the rest of this year.
Okay. Because I told you I wanted to come up and visit your facilities, And
Right.
um, I mean, I don't want to say I don't want to come if you're not there, but I really want to come to meet you in person when I
Well,
do come. And
yeah.
I just trying to figure out how, because you, for what I saw in the article, that you may be leaving in May this year. That's what I had read. But if you're not
No,
leaving,
no, I think, and if I'm thinking of the same one, no, it's not going to be for the next couple of years. I
oh,
was
okay,
going to take a trip to Africa. I had researched my ancestry
okay,
and what I had planned to do, but it goes back to your previous question, Chester. I
hmm
had been researching my ancestry and I
hmm
connected with some people in Cameroon and I've been doing some studying and I needed kind of a spiritual awakening. So I
okay,
had planned to take a 2 month trip to
okay,
Africa, and
hmm
but not to leave, for
oh, okay,
good. But
okay,
I don't, I talked to one of my hosts, and they said that in the current climate, they would not advise me to travel, and that's
yeah,
even sad in itself.
right, right,
That another country is saying, be careful. So I postponed the trip, but
okay,
I won't. If I do anything, it won't be for the next couple of years.
okay, okay,
Yeah, I'll
okay,
be here
good,
for the
good.
next couple of years.
Okay. Well, I do plan on making a trip up to your facilities, and I want to make that trip before the summer is out.
Okay.
Come up and visit with you probably for a day, and
Right.
see what's going
Well,
on, and take some
yeah.
pictures and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah.
What you have to do is every year, my birthday's on June 15th.
Mm-hmm.
And every year, the past couple of years, we've had a big blowout. And when I tell you, I opened the place up to the community, we had line dancing and we have food, we have fun, we have music, we do games and trivia. And so we'll probably do it again this
Mm-hmm.
year is
Okay.
but we always do that in the middle of June, and then we incorporate everybody's birthday that's in June. I let them join in, and we have one big massive party. But what I am able to do is I tell people to ensure, just reach out to me and say, hey, I want to come up here on May, and I'll make sure I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
But I do a lot of public speaking. I get invited out, so I may be traveling. I may be,
Okay.
so I have to just make sure I go to American Legions and VFWs and businesses and schools and different places and bring a message. So I just tell people, just let's make sure set up a date.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So you said June 15th. That's a
Yeah, that's gonna
okay.
be. Yeah, we'll probably have a big party June 15th.
Okay, okay. Well, I'll look at my calendar, man, and like I said, I do plan on making that trip. It's a 2 hour
Okay.
trip for me, but
Right.
I think it's worth it, to come
Yeah.
up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We
Do you?
have had people. We have had people come from as far away as Florida,
Hmm.
South Carolina, Georgia, Colorado, New York, New Jersey, um, and all across the state. I've had people come from all across the state
Hmm.
to come in. So we welcome. I mean, we're just glad when people come from other places and they specifically say, "I saw you online and I want to come and check it out." And then
Yeah.
people will say, "I see it online, but when you come in person," and I'll tell you too, and we are almost out of space. I mean, people keep giving us so much stuff, which is a good
Hmm.
thing to have,
Yeah.
but we've got some stuff in storage, and but we're constantly moving things around. But what I want to do, I tell people, this is a touch and feel museum. So when I have school kids that come in, I
Hmm.
actually let them hold. This is from World War II. You can
Hmm.
hold it, and they're shocked. This is a German helmet. This is and I want people to be immersed in what we're doing,
Yeah.
as well. We have a lot of events. We just had our fourth pool tournament. We have spades tournaments, bid whist tournaments. We're doing
Mm.
bingo Saturday. We try to be inclusive to the community, but the nuts and bolts of the place is just for veterans. I just want this. I want veterans to exhale when they come in here. And I don't want somebody that hadn't been in the military and they don't understand what's going on to be standing there and the veteran says something. And so I just say, you're welcome to come and tour. You're welcome to come and see what we're about if you hadn't been in the military. But in order to enjoy and really get into what we do, I want you to be a veteran.
Okay. You have many female veterans coming in and checking
That's
things out?
that's been a challenge. That's been a
Okay.
challenge. Probably 98% of our population has been male, and it's been Vietnam era. We
Vietnam era.
don't get a
Okay.
lot. We don't get a lot of young people,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't get a lot of females. But the interesting thing, I look at my statistics online.
Mm-hmm.
Probably 60% of the people that follow us online are
Mm-hmm.
female, but
Okay.
98% of the people that come in here are male. Now, in order to combat that, last October, I had a female veterans and female military spouses luncheon. We set the place up back here. We've got two rooms here. The front room is
Okay.
strictly recreational. That's where the pool tables and everything are. Back
Okay.
here, we've got seating and couches and everything. So we had about 60 women and we fed them. We put linen tablecloths down. We had fancy napkins. I had flowers on the tables. Um, we had pink shirts made, and we had a networking session, but everything was catered to females. So I went out in the community. The VA Women's Health Department at the VA came in. We had even Merle Norman and Mary Kay Cosmetics came in,
Mm-hmm.
and we did about a 3 hour session just for female. No men were involved. I even let one of my board members, Dr. Swain, she facilitated the whole thing. I stayed out of the way because I
Mm-hmm.
wanted women to see this is somewhere you're welcome. You can come. But I think what happens is they see the pictures and it's mostly men. So they
Uh-huh.
kind of think, well, but I really would like to see more women get involved.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. The veteran population in your area, do you know what the population is or
It's
close to it?
significant because, and a lot of it is transitory in the sense that our VA hospital, which is probably about a mile away from where I am,
Okay.
it's one of the largest in this region. So
Mm-hmm.
it's huge. So we get a lot of people that are always coming in, always coming in. Oh, but I don't remember right offhand what the population is, but it's probably 30, I would say maybe 30%. I would probably feel comfortable, but I know we have a large population because this is, like I said, one of the biggest. The next one is in Kernersville. They have a smaller one in Charlotte, but everything kind of feeds into this VA system. And they have been wonderful to us. I mean, we have a great relationship back and forth with the VA here. We put out flyers and a lot of the departments they help promote, what we're doing. And what happens also is kind of like a stop place. If they've got an appointment, and we'll say people will come in and say, "Well, I've got an appointment at 3 o'clock. I don't have anything to do." Well, they'll come here and just hang out, until they go, or they don't want to go back home after they leave. So they'll come and hang out here and then leave. So that's been a blessing,
Mm-hmm.
to us too. We've got a reserve training center that's probably a block down, Army Reserve Training Center. They're a block down the street. I went
Mm-hmm.
over and met with the sergeant major there and talked with him, and we partnered with them. So people come in for their weekend or their 2 week duty. Well, we're 2 blocks away, so they
Okay.
can come up. So we're situated really great. Where
Okay. Yeah. I'm in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
exactly.
Yeah,
I've
you
been there
probably
a
know.
few times.
You have? Okay. Yeah, and I haven't seen or heard of anything going on in this area like what you have going
Right.
on there, So, I got I don't know, I got about 600, 700 people on my Facebook page, and
Uh huh.
I'm gonna put this interview on there and ask them
Okay.
to, to spread the word on and, pass it on, let people see,
Right. Well,
what you're doing there. Mm-hmm.
yeah, the four congressmen that um, support us
Uh-huh.
have told me their aides have been up, and they said that in their districts throughout the state, this does not exist. I am the only one
Mm-mm.
in the state that exists. So
Yeah.
what I had the foresight to do is I hired a brilliant young female attorney out of Charlotte. Her mother actually volunteers for me, but she's a patent and trademark attorney. So I went and had this entire thing trademarked,
Mm-hmm.
so protected.
Okay.
And I have actually had four counties, elected leaders from four counties throughout the state reach out to me and ask me if I would consider bringing them to their counties.
Okay.
And I'm thinking about it, and it kind of goes back to your question. It depends on how my health holds up. Right
I
now,
understand.
I'm great.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind franchising this to other counties.
Yeah.
And it's just simple. You know, and I didn't want to go this route, but honesty is one of my things. There's been some jealousy, and
Yeah.
I don't understand why.
Mm-hmm.
I have had some leaders from VFWs and American Legions that are angry with me, and they have actually come in here and gotten a little upset with me and said that they're struggling for membership, and they felt like I was the reason why, and that I'm trying to take members away. And
Mm.
I said, well, number one, we're not doing the same thing. Uh,
Right.
so I'm not, and I promote participation in the American Legion.
Yeah.
Promote it. I encourage people to join,
Uh-huh.
but it's been a little disappointing with, and it's been more than 3, 4, 5 times that
Mm-hmm.
I've had to have people come in here. I've had people stand out in front of my glass windows secretly videoing. And I'm
Really?
like, come in. You can
Yeah.
take a picture anything in here,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
tell people it's not the physical location. It's not what we have. It's
Mm-hmm.
the attitude. It's the atmosphere. We have a great time in here.
Yeah.
When, like I said, when you come through that front door, we don't care about rank. We don't care about your ethnic background. We don't care about your gender. You here, and we're gonna have fun.
Okay.
And with that, we have actually had men that have come in here broken. And when I say broken, severely with PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
We had one gentleman, he had just lost his wife of 40 something years. The first two times he came in here, he just sat in a chair and cried. That's all
Mm-hmm.
he did. And I
Uh-huh.
told him that was okay. Just
Yeah.
come in here. 2 weeks later, he's laughing, shooting pool, having a great time. We had a guy that came in here that his wife brought him in here. He had self isolated for 2 years, no
Mm-hmm.
contact with anybody. He
Mm-hmm.
was in the mental health, inpatient mental health at the VA, and he came in here. And within 2 months, he's sitting at the front desk volunteering, welcoming people in here. So
Mm-hmm.
I tell people, you can take pictures, you can video, you can
Mm-hmm.
do, but you can't duplicate what the atmosphere.
Yeah.
But I've had, unfortunately, and I don't know if it's residual from the atmosphere in the uh, administration or society, but we've actually had people try to make it about a race thing in here. And
Mm-hmm.
that's so disappointing to me. And I
Yeah.
initially said I wasn't going to address it, but I think it's something. I mean, we have actually had people to come in and say, and I've had to go on the news and dismiss this. One person started a rumor he doesn't want Vietnam veterans in there. Well, I went on the news and I said, that's not true. He doesn't want older veterans in there. That's not true. He doesn't want white veterans in there. That's not true. There's too many black veterans in there. Okay. And I'm just like, stop all of that. We
Yeah.
don't care about
Right.
that. And if you even look at the pictures that I post, we just have a good time.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about. So I tell people that if you're coming in here for any other reason but to have a good time, don't come in here. And I have asked probably 3 or 4 people, leave and don't ever come back in here, because there are certain things I don't tolerate, in here. But aside from that, we promote, and online, I will promote anybody's business. I'll promote if you're doing something positive, if you're doing something for veterans, whether you're American Legion or whether I will promote you, but you got to be doing something positive, for veterans. I do get a lot of people that just know you have a big social media following. I'm trying to, well, I'm sorry, I'm not going to just promote everything, because I don't want people to lose confidence in integrity of what I'm doing.
Understand. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Kenny, I tell you, man, we've been talking about 40 minutes. I don't want the interview to go too long, because sometimes people, when they get to listening longer, they lose interest.
Right, exactly.
I mean, it's going to be hard to lose interest on what you're saying and the way you talk. You're a good talker, man. I mean, I don't need to tell you that. You need of your own resume. But couple more questions.
Okay.
I mean, can you talk about what you did in the military? You was in there for four
Yeah,
years.
right.
What did you do?
It's a kind of a funny story. My goal and my intention when I went in the military, I wanted to stay 20 years. And like I said, my siblings went. I had 2 partners that I grew up with that were like brothers to me. I went in first. My other friend, we called him Perk, Terry, he went in second. He went in the Air Force. And then my other partner, Wayne Witherspoon, he went in the Army. And we were all going to stay 20 years. And I got sent to Offutt Air Force Base.
Okay.
And when I went in the military, I had no clue really what I wanted to do. I listened to my recruiter and I said, well, I'd like to be an air traffic controller. And but my eyesight wasn't great, but I scored really high on the ASVAB. And but anyway, I went in open general and they put me in law enforcement, which I ended up really enjoying. Offutt is SAC headquarters.
Oh, yeah.
So I ended up getting a really great security clearance, had a really great job in security forces, working in communications for the entire base, got to interact with a lot of generals, got to meet a lot of interesting people. And but after a few years, it's like, well, I want to see what else is out there. I want to put in that dream sheet. So I put it in and I said, I've always wanted to go to Japan. So I put in Japan. I had another friend that was in Hawaii. So I put in for Japan and Hawaii and got it back. And they said, you're going to Elmendorf, Alaska. I said, no, I'm not. I'm not going to Alaska. Looking back now, I should have went. And there are a couple of mistakes I made when I was in. So I told them I didn't want to take the orders. And they said, you can stay here at Offutt because they trained me for this specific job. And they called me to the chief's meeting. And they said, if you stay here, we'll give you a strike if you stay here. And I said, I don't want to stay at Offutt. So they said, well, your only option is to get out. So I got out.
Oh, man.
And I regret that. I wish I had gone to Elmendorf. The other mistake that I made, and I try to tell these young people, that's why mentoring is so important. And I try to mentor so many young people. I had a chance to get out, go back to college, finish my degree, and go in the Army as an officer. And I did all of the paperwork. I still have the letter and everything hanging on the wall. And I turned it down. And I said, I kicked myself. But I ended up going to Seymour Johnson. I spent 2 years in the reserves, active reserves at Seymour Johnson. And but I enjoyed my job. I really I was on an honor guard. I did parades. I did a lot of things. I graduated in the top 3% of the non-commissioned officers prep school. I mean, I did really well,
Okay.
but I just hate. And my friend Perk, he did about 25 years. Spoon did
Mm.
about 27 years. So I was the only
Okay.
one that got out after 4.
Okay. When were you at Seymour?
Um, 88 to 90.
Oh, okay. I was at early 75 to 79. I was
Oh,
at
okay.
So I'm an old sack trained killer also, you
Oh,
know.
all right. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
started in TAC and I went to SAC
Yeah.
and came on into MAC and
Mac. Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
that's where I stayed, you know, until I retired. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll tell you one interesting story too.
Mm-hmm.
Now my enlistment was up in 90. You know, my total enlistment was up in 90.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the Gulf War was brewing.
Oh yeah.
And so in my wife was pregnant with our first child, and in about December of 90, I got a letter. And it said, due to the buildup and what's going on in the Gulf War, you are being reactivated and will be put back on active duty status.
Mm.
And when I told my wife that, I think it was January, she went into labor
Oh
and
man.
had the baby. I
Okay.
know my first son's birthday because I'm watching CNN on January 17th, and I'm saying push, and I'm watching the war on TV, but they never called me back. They
Oh
never
really?
called me to come back. So I'm kind of glad I didn't go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because my attitude, I was a different man at
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah.
So
You about done, huh?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Kenny, I'm not gonna hold you no longer, man. I mean,
Okay.
look, I had a list of questions here that I don't know that I was gonna ask you, but like I said, man, you blow your own horn, man. You know better than
Oh,
the question I could ask you, and I do appreciate you coming and hanging out with me on the edge, man. And I want you to give me the opportunity if I can come up with something,
yeah.
come back and talk to you again.
Anytime, brother. You have
Yeah.
my number, you have my
Okay.
email, you got everything. So this
Okay.
is not a one-off, man.
Okay. I have some brothers that I call them brothers, military guys. Some I serve,
Uh-huh.
and every 2 weeks we hook up on just like you and I are doing here. I don't know
Yeah,
if you've seen any of
yeah.
my little videos that I do, and we talk about what's going on in the world and stuff. And I'm
Okay.
gonna
Can
as
you
soon as I
add me
get this
to it?
thing, sir.
Can you add me to it?
Yeah, I can add you to it.
Okay.
I'm quite sure they'd be glad to have you. Yeah, you may find it interesting, man. We meet next Wednesday, 8 o'clock.
Okay.
But I'll
That
send you a link, and one of the guys on there, he works with the American Legion. So,
okay.
he's not saying he's one of those guys that you're in conflict with, but
No,
I
no,
want to
no.
see what he has to say about what you had told me. People with the jealousy and all that, because I don't
Uh-huh.
understand how they could be upset with what you're doing.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
because one hand kind of washes the other.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's my attitude. I will
Mhm.
promote anything for veterans. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I will send you an invite.
okay, thank you. And I'll be happy to join because I'm up.
Man,
I'm early rising, so I'm
well,
up.
I appreciate it, man. Now that's 8 o'clock at night. I know you say you go to bed early.
Oh, I'm actually AM.
Now
That Wednesday, I'll stay up.
okay, and you can bounce off anytime you get ready. Now, these guys they like to talk, man. I mean,
Right,
for
right,
3 hours, and I tell them, man, look, I'm a one-man show.
right.
When I finish talking to you, now I got to go in and edit.
Get it.